What up gamers, and welcome to another weapon review for Battlefield 5. Finally, the team over at DICE drop us another weapon in this week's Tides of War challenge, and it just so happens to be another anti-material rifle for the Recon Class. That's right, you guessed it, we have another one-shot wonder that fits right in with the boys AT rifle. So today I'm going to cover a little history on this massive rifle, analyze its weapon stats, and see just how well it compares to the boys AT rifle. So sit back, relax, and let's get into a little history. So just like the British had their boys AT rifle, the Germans had the Panzerbuchse 39. It was a very sleek design for its day, but just like all the anti-tank rifles of its time, the Panzerbuchse became obsolete after the Battle of France in World War II when tanks started being encased in sturdier armor. Thus why most are known within the class as anti-material rifles versus anti-tank. Not so versatile against a tank, but perfect for small munitions and even some pillboxes within the war. Interesting fact number 2, at the start of the invasion of Poland, the German army had a little over 500 of these rifles. But by the time the Germans started to invade the Soviet Union, they had mass-produced over 25,000 of these rifles. So you could say they had plenty of these to go around in all the different fronts of the war. But the mass production was more on the case that because the Germans didn't figure upon the Russians having some decently armored tanks in World War II, which they actually did. But of course, because of that, it became obsolete just like any other anti-material rifle within this war. The Panzerbuchse also had a very clever design to save on production costs. The original design of this gun, the PZB-38, had an auto-ejecting system and recoil mechanism that would absorb some of the recoil and eject the empty round from the gun. Of course, being that this was fairly expensive and took more time to produce, the rifle was redesigned to the PZB-39 or Panzerbuchse 39 that we play in the game. And again, DICE nails the animation for this weapon just like they do with every gun within the game. To reload the gun, the soldier using the rifle would push the pistol grip forward, which would eject the used round. Then they could place in a live round from their box of rounds on the side of the gun and pull the grip back to lock the firing mechanism in place. Although on the wrong side of the war, you have to admit the Germans had some very innovative ways in making their weapons more efficient. Now since most tanks were armored enough to take on any of these rifles head on, they really became obsolete once the Eastern Front opened up in Europe. So to counteract that, the Gustloff company went back to the drawing board and were able to convert the Panzerbuchse into a grenade launching rifle that was actually effective against enemy armor through the end of World War II. These conversions became known as the GRB Model 39s. Now because of this conversion to a rifle grenade launcher, it's actually hard to come by a whole Panzerbuchse 39 rifle in this day and age, especially one in good condition, which is also likely why they come priced right around over $30,000 US at any one of these gun auctions. But I think that's enough about the history of this beast of a rifle. You want to know how it performs within the game. So before unlocking this rifle, you have to complete the challenges for this week's Tides of War challenge. Of course, if you're watching this video 2 weeks from now, you should be able to purchase the rifle for about 1,000 company coin. But for those of you still looking to unlock it this week, the easiest route will be through the top or middle routes, as the last node on the bottom route is easy, but it takes forever for you to acquire 5,000 score for resupplying teammates with ammunition. So this of course makes the best routes within the top and middle portions, as simply playing the game, winning 2 squad conquest matches, and meleeing enemies will get you there to completion. Like I said, fairly easy to complete, so no reason to cover it anymore. Next, let's really get into the depths of the gun of the week, the Panzerbuchse 39. Just like the boys AT, the Panzerbuchse is a one-shot killer when you tag your enemies on the body or even in the foot with one of its armor-piercing rounds. In a lot of ways, the Panzerbuchse 39 is very similar to the boys AT. It has a slightly lower rate of fire than the boys AT at 18 rounds per minute, holds a total of 11 rounds, 10 in the box on the side and 1 in the chamber with a total of 33 on your person, and both AT rifles have the same reload speed at 5 seconds. So although a slower rate of fire than the boys AT, I think I would still prefer the Panzerbuchse over the other. For one, you can increase the fire rate up to 21 rounds per minute with its machine bolt specialization, but reload speed also becomes less of an issue thanks to the PZB-39's hefty magazine box on the side, basically double the ammo of the boys AT. Plus, you don't have the massive magazine of the boys AT sticking up near your line of sight in front of you. By damage comparisons, both guns are capable of knocking an enemy at 100 meters out. The only skill needed here is an understanding of bullet velocity at range and having a sure aim. But once you get past the 100 meter mark with the Panzerbuchse 39, it actually hits harder than the boys AT. Not that it really matters though, as most of the players using this gun are going to stick to firing at enemies under 100 meters. Now, interesting note about the recoil of the Panzerbuchse is that you can actually get aggressive with it thanks to its tight aim hipfire. After testing the recoil, I found that just straight hip firing is quite random in where the bullets land, but if you tight aim, which tightens up the reticle since you can't ADS unless prone or with a bipod, it'll hit right between the crosshairs, making it of course a little too accurate in my opinion, as I was having no trouble shifting positions and taking down other players while relocating my position. But the gun still has a slow fire rate, so for the most part any other player should have no trouble taking down anyone with this rifle as long as the recon player with the Panzerbuchse misses that first shot. Unfortunately for these guys, I don't tend to miss. So the way I play with this weapon is I tend to fire and then reposition for my next shot, as it takes forever to pop another high-powered round into the chamber due to its low fire rate. With this gun in hand, it's also important to keep moving because once another player finds out your location, they're going to be coming to hunt you down. So because of my playstyle, I chose to run the far left side of the specialization tree and then cutting off to the right for the high velocity rounds, as I'm not going to fire on tanks all that often unless they're close to dead. The recoil buffer specialization on the right is not really needed either, as for this weapon you're not going to be firing off consecutive shots at a rapid pace, so slings and swivels will always be the easy choice as you want your pistol to come out fast when needed. You can go to the right side if you want for variable zooming and a decrease in your reload speed down to 4.25 seconds, but I find having less muzzle flash and a faster rate of fire is more useful for my playstyle. I'm more of your aggressive sniper even with the Panzerbuchse, so I'm not going to be too worried about taking long shots at enemies. All in all though, this is still a fun gun to use, at least on the user side, but trust me, if I get taken out by one of these from the other team, I will be coming to hunt you down. So yes, there is an element of noobish playstyle if you're just camping with this rifle in the bushes, but it can be quite fun to get aggressive with. And that, gamers, is all you need to know about the new Panzerbuchse 39 anti-material rifle for the Recon class. Overall, patch 4.4 has done a lot to resolve a majority of the issues that many players were facing, such as stability issues and some other bugs that were wreaking havoc on the game. The main issue I saw after this patch was implemented was some outrageous ping issues. Now, I don't have the greatest internet at all out here where I'm at currently, but I normally run around 35 to 90 ping within the Battlefield 5 servers. But during all my rounds here these past few days, I've been anywhere from the high 80s up to 150 ping, and for the majority of the players in my servers, I never saw anything lower than 32 from my observation. Luckily, the DICE community manager has already addressed this and stated that the team has made this a top priority, so hopefully it gets resolved soon because man does it make it difficult to play sometimes. As far as the new maps they placed in, they really are nothing special to me. And the fact that they're smaller really doesn't pique my interest, as I'm more of a Conquest and Frontlines player. But I am excited to see the new Operation Underground map, as I heard nothing but good things about it, but we'll just have to wait and see when the time comes. Hopefully within these future patches, DICE can turn things around, flood the game with more quality content and weapons, but I don't think that's a possibility till the Pacific Front patch comes to fruition. But that's it for today, gamers. Hope you all have an awesome day, and if you enjoyed the content and intel, drop this video a like and tap fire subscribe for more weapon reviews in Battlefield 5. But until next time, gamers, this is SirMav, signing off.